so let's get going. I'm doing this session, like all the 3 sessions that I'm doing. I'll do this one, I'm going to do the Buffini one, and Irene and Bridget are going to do the top producer one. And the idea is that before Ignite, everybody always challenges if they don't have a way to organize their names before the calling starts because it gets a little chaotic. Mojo is something I started using in February. And I started using it because I hired an offshore virtual assistant to do the calling, and that was the system that they recommended that we use. And so I had just moved over to Buffini, and then I layered this on top. And I actually love this because I get very distracted when I go to call, and I dial, and then I find I've dialed the wrong number, and I'm hanging up and trying to get the number, and I waste so much time. And this really focuses me, and it makes it really easy to use. So what I'm going to do today is just go over some of the real basic functionality, like how to, what the functionality is, how to add a contact, that type of stuff that you would need just to get started on Ignite. And then I'll talk a bit about the costing of it and what's available. It's going to be different for everyone depending on what services you choose to use if you go this route. It is one of those programs that you pay in US dollars, so that's always fun. And you're using it, right, Katya? How are you liking it?
I like it a lot.
You like it a lot too?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no other way. There's no that I've ever seen that we can talk about that many phones.
Yeah.
That easily.
Yeah. So feel free to jump in if you've discovered something that I don't mention that you think is relevant. I'm happy to just make it a meeting of the minds. So this is the main page when you come in. If I talk about the overall functionality, it is not a CRM per se, it is a dialer. And so in order to use the program, you have to attach the software to a calling system, which I'll explain in a minute. So when you go to dial, you're going to use either your cell phone or the internet, like Google Hangouts, or I use Google Hangouts the most. You can also use the office phone if you wanted, if you're in the office, but you have to connect the software to a phone system, which is the part that hung me up the most. I didn't get that.
But it's really easy.
It is really easy to do. Once you get it,
I use my cell phone like Google.
See, I find when I've used my cell phone though, it's a long distance call to get the dialer. Do you find you get long distance calls on it?
I have a flat rate.
Oh, okay.
I got the flat rate of well, I always had a US flat rate. And then I didn't, and then when I got the dialer, I got the US flat rate because it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not that expensive. It's like, I think it's maybe $50 a month or something like
Okay.
that. And I call other, like I call friends in the US and whatever, so it serves it to a purpose.
Right, right.
But then it doesn't matter anymore where you call and whether or not it's a long distance call.
Right, but if you don't have that plan, just listen to your cell phone because it'll say you're now making a long distance call. And if you're going to be on for an hour on the dialer, you just want to make sure that you're not going to get a whopping bill because you can use the internet where you don't get any long distance calls. So even though
Do you find the internet is as reliable in terms of the quality?
I've been okay. The problem I have is when I do it in the office, the internet in the office isn't reliable.
Okay.
But once I hook in, I haven't had a problem. I haven't used the phone yet. That's the next one I'm going to try is the office phone as opposed to the office internet because our phones are pretty reliable.
Sorry, I know, sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
I thought it was 1:30.
Oh, sorry, no.
So you have the dialer?
I do. I do,
And
yeah.
right now you've been doing it on your cell phone?
No, I've been using Hangouts, Google Hangouts. I'll show you how I do it. I have a test one in here, so I'll run you through it and you'll get to see. What I love about this program is not only is it easy to keep track of people in it, but you can link it to BombBomb. So if you want to do a follow-up action plan, you can, I'd have to get Tina to explain that one too because she figures out how to do it. But so when I call and I'm talking to someone I've never spoken to before, I start a plan that sends a BombBomb email that says, hi, thanks for chatting today. I really enjoyed our time together. Just wanted to put a face to a name, and there's my happy little mug. And then I've got a couple of other ones that follow up, and then I'll follow up with them. So I have reminders for me to call them, plus I have some automatic stuff that goes out.
And that's assuming you have an email address. You're
Yes.
sending the bonbon by email.
Yes, yes. I mean,
So
if you,
over the course of the conversation, you get an email address that you can populate
yes,
in there?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Well, I find that my experience has been, because I have someone calling different areas, the only people that tend to answer the phones are really old people, and not all old people use email. So I've segregated my database into email and no email. So everything that I do via email, I have a paper version of it as well. But if they sound like they're with it and they have an email address, then I get that. So there is a place in the corner here where you can set up action plans, email templates, marketing letters, lead capture forms. I haven't gotten into that very much, and if I did, it would be Tina that did that part. And then it's also set up for Teams. There's a team version of it, so it's handy that way. When you go in the morning, all your reminders would be here. Right? It's Monday, and I usually only call Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, so none of my reminders are ever set for Monday. But if you go into, let's go into the dialer. So this is what you would see. This is your main sort of database area, for lack of a better word. It tracks the source. So with Mojo, you can pay $25 for a month and then go in and map out areas, and they'll download all the phone numbers for you. They do not scrub them against a do not call list. However, they must scrub them against something, because I have had some stuff come off. But once you do put them in, there's a do not call function in here. Once you manually put them in there, then they don't ever come back. So
this feature is actually really easy to use for anybody who hasn't
Yeah.
used it. So to map an area, I find that it's worthwhile the money. To map
yes,
an area,
totally.
especially, so what I do is I map out an area that parallels an MLS area, typically.
Yeah.
And so when I call it, I also bring on the different screen the MLS stuff up, so I can intelligently talk about, this to sold here and over there. It makes it sort of easy. That mapping function, I think,
Is brilliant.
is very much
Yeah.
worth the money.
Yeah. And it's,
You have Mojo?
yeah, and it
So
isn't
this
something
is
you have.
extra on top.
It is extra on top. We'll get to the pricing at the end. So what happens when you load, there's 3 different ways of segregating people, which are all here. This one, I don't use. Do you use this side, Katya? Do you use this side? Canceled, expires, FISBOs?
No.
I don't use that either, so
No.
forget about that part. But when you load a map in, these are your calling lists. So what I've done, these are all my map areas that I've had my OSA calling. And then for my farm, I can go in and I can download it by street. So I can then go in, when they're not 100% perfect. If you walked down a street, you'd probably find houses that are missing. But if you set it up by street, you can always add them in after the fact, and then you can get a complete list of a street and you won't lose it.
But the only way that you're gonna know that is to compare it to another database like
Like the
web.
Real Web Solution one,
Yeah.
like WolfNet
Yeah.
one, yeah, and I've done those. And then if you really wanted to be sure, go do door knocking and
Right.
double check your list when you go.
Right.
And then you'll have a complete set.
But I think the purpose, though, for me, the purpose is not to have a complete database. Like I have a database for that. This is really
For
getting
new people.
numbers fast.
Yeah, there's 2 different ways of doing it. If you have a farm that you're cultivating, you can use it for that. You can also use it for just mass calling to see what you can find. That's a numbers game. And then the groups, do you use the groups?
I started, yeah.
Okay, so the way I've divvied up the groups is this is my pipeline. So people go from calling lists into your groups, and this to me is the part that I'm using as my database. So anybody, and you'll understand it a little better when I get into a person. So let me just pick someone here. So it hasn't switched for me, hold on. Yeah, it's being temperamental on me, hold on. Okay, now if I close that, no, that's not what I want to do. Right. Okay, well, fine, this will work. Anyway, if you need to search for someone, you can put them just in here, and
Did you put in a street there as well?
they're all. Why is this not doing what I need it to do?
You'd be doing anything though.
Anyway, no, I'm just trying to get out of the group, because usually it says there's like 3,000 people in here, but I'm in this group right now and I'm trying to get out of it. And I just wanted to, anyway, because you can search the entire thing, or you can search by group or by map area. Because before you go to call, you're picking what you're going to call, and it's going to be one of these groups. So just to make things easier, I will show you what.
So rather than going into into a geographic area, you actually go then into
You can.
or you go into a group and then call that group.
Yeah, so usually what I'll end up doing is if I want to follow up on all my new leads that I haven't pre-qualified, so I have my OSA call a general area. And then whoever she gets, she plonks them into new leads that need qualifying. So I'll go in there and then I'll start the dialer based on the new leads. And it will only take those 55 people that are in there.
Right.
And then the beauty of that is when you go in, if I hit power dialer, you can set it to start from the beginning of the list or set it to resume from where you ended off last time. Because I know when I've got pieces of paper, I can't remember who I called, who I haven't called, and I'm starting all over. So that's kind of brilliant.
It's really good for a neighborhood too, because if you start a neighborhood,
Good,
you call
yeah.
4 streets, and the next day, you don't want to call those 4 streets again, you
Yeah.
want to call the next one.
Or you call them the next day and they've spoken to you yesterday.
And you forgot,
Didn't
yeah.
I talk to you yesterday?
Yeah. So this is where you set up how your dialer is going to work. And the most important part, you can also set it up so that if there's no answer, it leaves a message, and you can pre-record the message if you want. The thing that I like is the bottom where it says lead sheet. And you have 2 options in here. You can use calling scripts or you can use lead sheets. I tend to use lead sheets because I tend to work more off of questions that I want to remember rather than actual scripts. So what that means is, I don't really want to start this, so I'm going to close this. If you go into a person, once the dialer starts, let's pick this person. My computer's driving me crazy. There we go. So once the dialer starts, the name of the person that it's dialing comes up. And this is the brilliant part, because you get to see all your past notes. If there's a note that you want to pin up at the top so that you always remember something about this person, you can do that, and then it won't get overridden by your other notes. So I always put where I've met them, and what it is. If it's a past client, I'll always put the date and the price of their house, so that if I'm doing an annual follow-up call, I can never remember that kind of stuff. If it's a cold call for somebody that I've never spoken to and I'm following up from the OSA, and I get a note from Joanne that says they'll only sell if they can get 1.5 million for the house, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what that means. I will go down and it will show me a picture of the house, but I don't have an address. Oh, sorry, I don't have an address.
What database is this?
Where's it pulling the info from?
No, are you still in Mojo?
I'm in Mojo. Yeah, this is all Mojo. This is the CRM part of it. It's what it keeps for each person. And I didn't pick a good person because I don't have a note on them. Let me just see if I can. Here, let's pick.
Because I was going to say, if they were past clients, you wouldn't have past clients in Mojo.
Well, so how you choose to do it
Yes.
is how you choose to do it. I will have past clients in here because if I'm doing an event or I want to call them, I want them all in one place.
So are you downloading your database into Mojo?
Yes, so mine's a combination of maps that I've pulled, people I've been incubating, past clients, and
you keep them straight by the group.
I keep them straight via the groups. So the first groups are where they are in, so, let me just pull this up. So the first part of my groups to here are my pipelines. So they go from new leads, and once I've qualified them, they're on a 30-day plan of emails where I have to call them in between. So I flip them down, I change their group to 30-day plan. Referrals out is just somebody that I've sent to somebody else that I want to remember. Then potential for me are people that I don't think are going to sell this season, but they are going to sell next season. But to me, nurturing or incubating is they're way out there. So I use potential. I'll drop them in there so that I remember at the end of every season to call these people and see if they're actually going to be active. Then anybody I have an appointment with goes into appointment. From appointment, they go to active. And if at the appointment I figure out they're really not doing anything, I'll throw them in incubating. So incubating is anybody who's going to do something a year plus out.
Let me ask you this, so you have your database, like where you want people in there as well. When you call them, do you switch off the 3-number dialer?
I only got one line. I didn't get all 3.
Okay.
So I decided that I was probably not going to call fast enough to wrap my head around, and I didn't think I had enough people in the areas I wanted to work in to keep my OSA going on a triple dialer. I didn't need the speed, so I only have a single dialer on mine.
Okay, so you won't have an issue with that?
No, so I've actually been quite happy just having the single dialer. And I'll show you in the pricing what the difference between the 3 is.
Will you expand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go back into the power dialer. So
Sorry, is that all these, like, is this you setting up?
this
these?
is me setting it up. Yeah.
Okay, so we're
Yeah.
not, like, we have to do that ourselves.
Yeah,
We have
it's
to figure
all
out-
blank. It's however you want to organize your business, which sometimes could be the biggest challenge is
Yeah.
how do you really want to view the information. I'm trying to pick, actually she might be a good person to pick. Okay, so here's a client. So I showed you those lists where all the different categories. When I'm talking to a person, this no email, the reason it sits up at the top is so that when I'm in the person, I can always see whether this is an email or a no email person. Because if I'm talking to someone and I realize that there's no email in here, I'm going to circle back and try and get it. And I don't want to be asking someone that I already know is a no email person for their email again, because I'm going to look like an idiot. So I've just organized the no email people at the top purely to deal with this system the way it's set up so that I can see it. So I'm talking to them, I'll write my note down, save that. I will, when you've downloaded it from the map areas, they're obviously all coming with addresses. So as I said, if they said they wanted 1.5 for their house, I flip down here to Street View, and it will show me a picture of their house. And I can say, okay, I know it's W9, I know that's a pretty good looking house, that's probably realistic. Either that or it's a shitty little bungalow and there's no way in hell that I'm gonna waste my time on them. So I thought that was really kind of an interesting
And is
feature.
that because it's attached to Zillow? I see it.
It's attached to whatever it's attached to, I don't even know, it's just a
It's
feature.
all part of the Mojo.
It's all part of it,
It's
yeah.
all part of Mojo, okay.
Yeah, so you get it. So, because the other thing that I do, so remember I told
Looks
you,
like Google Maps.
yeah, it's probably, I would think it's probably Google Maps. But you know how I said at the beginning on the setup part, you can either do a script or what they call a lead sheet? So this is where your lead sheet comes in. And you can set whatever questions you want to set, and then you can type in your answers. I use this as a way to, if I have a new client or something happening with a client, I have admin actions required at the bottom, so I can write Tina a note, and then it just says send as an email, so she gets it and she knows exactly what I need to do with that person if you have an assistant or somebody you're trying to send stuff to. So, well, if you have a team, you see who owns this person. So if that says Joanne, I know that wasn't one of my people, it was a person that she had found for me. I write my notes, my follow-up notes, then I go in and I make sure that I've categorized them properly. So this person I'm gonna have an appointment with, it's in my appointment list. The other thing I do, so just keep in mind that strip that I showed you, this is how it represents per person, and you can be in more than one group. So I know that up until dump is my pipeline, and then after that, they're people that are downsizing or renting or upsizing or whatever marketing groups I want, kids with people with kids, dogs, however you're looking at it, you can put as many number of groups as you want. And then if you're having an event at the dog park, you can call all the people with a dog. The other thing that I find super easy that I have not found super easy with a lot of other databases is here under activities. It's super easy to do a follow-up. So I just hit the little green X. The date I want it to follow up, I can set it as a recurring call. So if I say I want, when I'm pre-qualifying someone, I only want to talk to them, try 5 times, then I'll set it as a recurring and like a high priority or medium, and it saves. And then what that does is on that main page where I came in and I said there's nothing here today because I call Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, it will send you an email of all the people you have to call. Plus you can go in to activities. I'm going to go in there right now because it's easier to see. You can go into activities, and this is today and past, and it'll show you all the follow-up calls that you need to make. And then if you just want to sort of pick and choose, you can just click on that person and go in and see what it was about and call them.
And just to go back, this is all in Mojo.
This is all Mojo.
So now you're downloading and using this as your CRM?
So what I've ended up doing is I'm primarily using this as my CRM, and I'm using Buffini as my business management CRM. So nobody goes into Buffini unless they're active and under contract, because that will start to pull all your potential. It tracks all your transactions. You can do your business planning and stuff in there. Plus, I'm using their newsletter. So I use them for something different. But I just find there's so many leads that you're trying to process that it bogs down your whole database. So I didn't want them all in there.
So they reach a certain level of maturity as a lead
Before they go
before
into
they
the
go
other
there.
one. Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Because I need to start managing the money on that side, and that's primarily what I use that database for.
Did you ever use Top Producer?
I did.
And
Oh,
you like
yes.
Buffini better?
Oh, gazillion times better.
Okay.
I swear to God, I think I'm amazed that Tina hasn't strangled me, because I think I'm the database queen. I have probably changed every year for the past 4 years, databases. And she's the one that has to do the exports and the imports and find the notes and do all that stuff. So I always let her make the final decision when I discover something that I think will be better. But I saw Top Producer when I was at, it was either Mega Camp or Family Reunion, and I knew it could roll up as a team, and I was using by referral only at the time that couldn't roll up as a team, and I loved that database. I absolutely loved it, but I couldn't move forward with it and scale it. And so I thought, okay, I'll bite the bullet, I'll go to Top Producer. We moved everything in, we knew the functionality. I absolutely hate it. I don't think I ever used it. I think I used it once or twice, and every time I went in there, it was just like, so
And did you find Buffini?
easy
far more
peasy.
easy
Oh,
to
easy
use?
peasy, yeah. It reminded me a lot of what by referral only used to be, and I happen to know, they sent me an email saying, we've redone our whole website and now you can do Teams. I'm like, I'm not even looking. I'm not gonna look, because Tina would shoot me. So, yeah, I'll do that one. That's the one session I'm doing on Wednesday, is Buffini. You could very easily survive with just Buffini, because I had that before I added this to it, and I only added this because of the virtual assistant, but it's turned out to be what I like the best, because
It's actually true, because it's like all those many leads is hard to keep
it is.
in a regular database and keep that.
Yeah. Yeah.
This makes a whole lot of sense that you segregate it in that way.
And because what you're doing primarily with your leads is contacting them, having it in a dialer saves a lot of time.
Do you do cold calling too, though?
She does more of the cold calling. Once she gets a
Tina
warrant, no, I have a girl, Joanne, out of the Philippines.
Oh.
So she calls the map lists for me.
I do it myself.
But
and it's-
Katja does it,
I
yeah.
do it myself based on neighborhoods, and I can't tell you how user-friendly it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm still assessing how, how I want to use Joanne, because her results were good at the beginning. Over the summer, it was obviously really, really quiet. And I haven't worked as much as I probably should with her on the scripts. They train them on scripts and KW scripts and stuff.
Who's with that?
Off to VA, the company that I hired them through. They're very familiar with KW ways of doing things. And I interviewed a bunch of people before I chose her, and I have her part-time, so she does 20 hours a week for me. And then, so she plays the numbers game, and whatever she comes up with, then I come in and go from
That's
there.
a good way of doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
I will say this, and I've been on the other end, and I'm sure we all have, from those calls from the
Yeah.
Philippines. They're hired out a lot.
Yeah.
So depending on who you get and how.
How, yeah,
how
and
good they are.
I'm like,
With your English and.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
just all the, Bell, everybody uses.
Oh, I know.
people out of
well,
India,
here's the
Philippines.
fun part. The other part that you can pay for on this program is it records the calls. So I can go in and listen to her.
Yeah.
And when my teeth start to cringe, I have a little chat with her about it. The interesting thing is she has a really good attitude. I don't know, I'm still sort of deciding how effective I think she is, because it is a numbers game, and she has gotten me a couple of good leads. I find it tends to be weather dependent, like when they get typhoons and bad storms and our internet goes down, I only pay for the hours that she calls, and it's not really all that
Yeah.
expensive, so.
It is fairly inexpensive,
Yeah.
but again, the results aren't the same as
If you had,
someone
yes,
here in Canada.
calling, yeah.
But the cost is like.
Yeah, is a fraction,
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's a
So,
numbers
and
game,
the thing
so
is,
it's,
You don't have to have anybody else. to
yeah,
help you.
exactly, you can
do it
just do
yourself.
it, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, totally.
Can I ask them, how does it work legally though, in terms of, they're not real estate agents?
So she doesn't talk about price. The script has absolutely nothing to do with
So it's
price.
just about price. They-
Motivation.
Yes,
No,
it's
it's
more about motivation, yeah.
She's just cold calling just to see if they're wanting
So
to
do
sell.
I,
Yeah.
when I call, there's no price, somebody said,
Yeah.
well, if you give me $2 million, blah, 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 I'm gonna make it.
No, but I mean, in terms of, I thought that it was, that you were not allowed to have anybody do business for you that wasn't an agent.
No, all
No.
she's doing is asking if you know anybody in the area who's thinking of selling, and if they say yes, then just say, would you mind sharing that name with me, and I'll have Lizanne call them, and, yeah.
So we could do that here.
Yeah,
you could.
I
Yeah.
didn't think you could do that.
You can have like an assistant doing a lot of stuff for
Yeah.
you. They just can't actually talk
About
about
real
product.
estate.
They can't conduct the open houses or.
they
Yeah.
can't, and they can't talk price or give advice.
Oh.
Yeah, they can call.
It depends what they're talking
About,
about and
yeah.
what they're asking.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
So Joanne, you pay her what, about $8 an hour?
Yeah. Yeah.
$8 an hour.
Yeah.
Cheap.
and they train her, they set her up, they send me emails when she starts, when she ends, like it's very systematic, and
Is she only working for you or is she working for?
I think
like
she
somebody else?
is. I think she is. I only have her part-time. Like you can choose either 20 hours or 40 hours. 40 hours is full-time, 20 hours is part-time. But I pick, so I have her call Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and Saturdays for 4 hours. The first half an hour of the session is them doing script practices. And then she calls me
So
every,
they call evening hours.
yes, our time.
So
yeah.
you do what, like between what?
I do between 4 and 8.
4 and 8?
Yep.
She actually calls for 4 hours.
Yep. Well, she calls for 3.5 because they do script practice for about a half an hour. And then she calls me every Monday and we talk about the results and what's working, what's not working. And
Just to give you an idea, when I do it, I get through about 50 contacts in an hour and a half. Contacts. Like
talking to
conversations.
people.
You mean
Yeah.
actual people answering
Yeah.
the phone?
Yeah, conversations in an hour and a half.
That's strictly cold calls. If you're downloading your database and you're talking warm calls, remember
It's
that's
totally
what you-
different.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
totally
that's the
different.
same, yeah. But it's just,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I could be doing the same thing Kathy is. It'll take me a lot longer because I take more time
Yeah,
on the
it-
phone. So it depends
it's a
on your
personality. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the brilliant thing is, if you decide once a year you want to call all your past clients, no matter how long you spend on the phone with them, you just resume next time and it just
Yeah.
finishes through and you keep all your notes and off you go.
Was it hard to download like I have top producer and I'm thinking, maybe I just
No,
want
but
to.
usually you create a CSV file and you
Just
put a
download it?
CSV file into here, right?
Yeah, it's
That's
a
how it
CSV
works.
file.
Because I'm so
It's
wanting
like
to
so
clean
easy.
it all out.
Yeah.
I keep saying that, every September I'm going to do it,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
September, and then you get sidetracked.
Yeah.
It's actually, I've never thought about putting my database in there, but it's good.
Yeah, if
Just
you
the
group
dial-up
them,
good
yeah.
Portion of it.
Yeah.
I just have to figure out how I'm gonna get around the triple dial.
Can't you switch to one?
Well, you can
dialer
switch
when
to
you're
the single
doing your
dialer.
database?
Can you?
Yeah,
Okay.
tell them I don't want the triple dialer. They tried to sell me the triple dialer and I didn't want it. I said, let me just
Honestly,
start with the one and then I'll see
It's
how that
because you
works.
don't do the initial cold calling because you have somebody doing it,
Yeah.
but you can, have you seen what it does when the triple dial is in action?
Well, I know that, sorry, so what I'll do here is I'm gonna just show you, let's go back to here.
So if you're calling solely your database, you go to single dial.
Right.
If you're calling cold
Yeah.
calling, you
You
could
could
go to
do
triple
triple.
dial.
So I have a test group in here, because this is how I learned to do it. And it's basically Tina, my son, my boyfriend, my ex, like all the people that it's like, okay, I'm just testing. If I hang up on you, don't get mad at me. So I can use them for the thing. So what would happen is you pick your group. So there's my group. You go into Power Dialer. I'm going to call this from the top. And then I'm going to start the Power Dialer. Okay, so there's my list of people that I'm calling. Okay, so start dialing. Now I have to connect to the dialer. So I'm going to go over to here. I usually do this on 2 screens, but I'm doing it on one. There's Google Hangouts. Why is that up? Where did my other one go?
And your phone, something underneath is on it.
Uh-oh, I think I just hung up on myself. Hold on. How many things do I have open here? Apple software, what is that? Okay, hold on, let me just get back in here. Give me a sec.
And can you put more than one contact in for your clients? Can you put like their cell and their home and if you can?
Yeah.
And then, so does one go in the automatic dialer and then you have to request to go to the second number or?
Yeah, I think you can set, I think I did see that set somewhere, but I can't remember
Yeah,
where.
That's pretty advanced for me anyways.
Oops, sorry, test group. Okay, Power Dialer. All right, start.
Do they have tutorials?
So this is, sorry, this
Yeah,
is,
there's-
yeah, there's tons of videos. See, it says
Okay.
video help. There's like videos all over the place. You can go
Okay.
on YouTube and learn the whole thing. And the website's really good too, which is what I'm gonna show you in a minute too.
Okay.
So here are the 3 lines. So if you have the triple dialer like Katya, you'll see who's in the queue to come next, okay? I only use the single dialer, so I only ever see the next name here.
So why that matters, though, if you're contemplating the triple dialer and why I stuck with it after I got it, is you will see, when you see the 3 people that it does, you will see when it's attempting to dial and then eventually connects. There's a lot of people who don't answer. So I find from a maximizing your time point of view, if you do true cold calling where people like, you know, if you hang up on them, they don't care. This really gets, even with the triple dialer, sometimes you sit there for, I don't know, 20 seconds with nobody to talk to because it's dialing and trying to connect. If you do that with one line, invariably you're going to have 3 times as much downtime as you have with the triple dialer. So that's why I went for it. I wouldn't use it again. I wouldn't use it against my database because
No,
people
of
get
course
messed
not.
up.
Yeah.
No.
But for true cold calling, I think this is a good way to go.
And so,
Can I just ask, with the triple dialer though, what about the confusion? Like now, somebody does answer, and now the other guy has answered.
It drops
It drops it.
whichever one answers first, they drop the
They
other
dropped
call.
another call, so now you've lost one, like.
no, it'll come back.
It'll
It'll come
dial
back.
it again.
And yes,
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So once you've spoken to them, you have to say it was a contact, no contact, bad number. You add them to the do not call list if you don't ever want to call them. Yeah, that's how it brings the next call in, is you have to terminate your call with one of those decisions.
And it also keeps your database organized.
Well, not only that, but the brilliant thing is, for tracking your numbers, it'll tell you how many attempts you made, how many people you contacted. You get reports on every day that you've done.
And there's actually a clock. I got stuck on a call once and there's a clock and I'm just watching it tick and I'm thinking, how do I get off this call?
Oh, I've had one of
Watching
those,
it, I'm
yeah.
watching it. So,
All right, so let's do, start the power dialer, and then I gotta go and, okay, yeah, this is the group I'm doing. Connect, all right, so now, let me just lower this for a second, bring this back up.
can you call this Google Hangout?
Hold on, oops. This is Google Hangouts, you can use,
So, you know how, sorry, are you dialing?
I don't know, I thought I was. There we go. So there's the phone number. So I copy the phone number. And then I just have to remember that my PIN number is 12. So I call the number, and you'll hear it in a minute.
Where are you calling?
I'm calling to connect the dialer to a phone, the
Within your
software.
touchdown, please enter your PIN number.
Okay, which is
Your PIN number
one.
can be found.
There you go. So now we'll be in.
That was not a valid entry. Using your touchdown phone, please enter your PIN number.
That was
Your
good.
PIN number can be found in the dialing box on your screen.
Never had that happen before. Come on.
I'd hang up and try again.
That was not a valid entry.
Yes.
Using your touchdown phone, please enter your PIN number. Your PIN number.
Okay, likes that better.
You are now logged into the
There.
Mojo dialer. Please press the start button on your screen to begin calling.
All right. Oh, come on.
Which side are you bringing it?
That's over.
So my mouse has this thing where sometimes I have to hit it really hard and sometimes I can just tap it. And it's in one of those. Okay, so here's the green button. Now I have to start. So once I hit this button, it's going to make, see how I only have one line? It's not showing all three. So,
Can I ask a question before you start?
Mhm.
When you used Google Hangout, you know how you have to tell the system a phone
number
that
to the
it's-
show.
that
Yeah.
to display as a caller ID?
Yeah.
How does it work with Google Hangout?
You'll have to speak to Tina about that, but we bought another number somewhere because it's not my cell
Through
number.
them.
And I can't, we tried it through the place that Off VA said, and it was really expensive and we didn't need to do that, so she got it somewhere else. There's a name of, it's like a nominal
Okay,
fee
when they
for
call
that.
this number back, nothing happens.
No, I could forward it to myself if I wanted to. And I have forwarded it because I get emails with voice files in them.
Okay.
I've only had one bad experience, and I swear to God, it was the first week we did it. I got this irate guy that said, I'm on the do not call list, you're not allowed to call me, blah, 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 blah. And so Joanne told me about that. So I went and I bought him a Starbucks gift certificate, because I have the addresses, because I had them in the map area, and I just wrote him a nice note saying, I'm terribly sorry, we just instituted a new system, and we had a little glitch, and I apologize, blah, blah, blah. I never heard anything back, so.
And now you put on the do not call.
And I put him on the do not call.
But he conceivably doesn't really know who you are.
No.
Well, I think he got the office number, like he really hammered her, so you can get the
Also from
person.
her.
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
I got it somewhere. I don't know
but
where
let's
he
say
got
you
it.
hang up on the person, if you have the number.
yeah, you can,
Yes.
yeah. I don't know
There's
how
no
I
way
got
to
the
tie it
message,
back.
but I got the message, so, oops. I don't know what to do. Okay. Oh, hi. You're on my class, I'm doing a test on the power dialer.
Oh, okay.
You can hear him standing out there. Sorry, so yeah, I must have already been going because I must have pressed start. All right, so we can all hear you, but once I'm finished and I hit contact, it will go to the next person. Bye, hon. Okay, now it's dialing again, and it's calling Charles, and his information comes up. See if he answers. I don't know if he's on the phone. So it'll keep ringing and ringing, and
So,
oh, hi, hon. You're on the middle of my class because I'm calling my test list. So I'm just showing how the dialer works. So you can say hi to everybody. Sorry, I meant to give you a heads up on that.
Hi there.
Okay, I can ad lib.
Okay, I'll see it too.
All right, see you
Okay.
soon, thank you.
Bye. So then I hang up. And what I could do is I could have written, while I'm talking to him, I could have written all my notes while I was going, and then as soon as I hit, they can hang up, but until you hit next contact,
So then you can-
it doesn't
you
move.
make your
Yeah,
notes.
yeah, they can say goodbye.
That's good.
Do you have a voicemail, put his name, number, and keep going?
Okay, so no
See,
contact.
that's what I wanted to avoid, because that's really a bad line. Is that
Yeah,
typically-
well, and that's, if I get that, I just say I'll call you right back, my system's acting up. And then, okay, so this is my ex. See if he's at work, we'll see if he answers, but.
Oh my gosh, you're old.
Well, it's just, I had to test it because I didn't know how much time I would have, and it was sort of, so if I'm not quite in the mood for doing this, I might sort of warm up to the whole idea. Okay, so assume that he's not there.
So clearly he doesn't search you.
Oh, hello?
Hello?
Jeff?
Hello?
Hi? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi, don't,
Doesn't
it's
sound-
okay, gotta run. Talk to you later. I don't know what that was. I've
I
never
think we get the hang of it.
But you get the gist. So that's how the dialer works, but you're not spending time looking up numbers and calling people and pressing the wrong
It's gonna
number.
call
and-
this
Talking yourself out
Oh,
of it.
this is my mother. Now you're gonna get my mother. This is a long distance call, so I can just stop it now. There we go, you get the general gist.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it doesn't stop.
I will X her and that'll skip it and I will stop the dialer. Okay. Relatively easy, just goes through all the numbers.
How long have you had this? How long?
I've had it since February.
Since February.
Yeah, so it's taken me a while to set it up and figure out how I want to use it and what I want to track, and
Does it give you some good ideas in the videos too? 'Cause
Yeah, the videos are great.
The level you're talking at, like for me, is like,
yeah, so I mean, you can just say new leads and just start with that, and then when you figure out you want to put them somewhere else, create a new group for them and stick them there. I just am a little anal about the whole pipeline thing, so that's.
The good thing too is that you can see the address. I had an instance once where I called somebody, it was clearly an elderly Italian lady, and she goes, "Are you a real estate agent?" And I'm going, "Yeah." She says, "Can you come see me?" I'm going, "Okay." So I looked at the address. I said, "Come anytime, I'm here." So I said, "Okay, I'll come in the next couple of days." So I looked at the address, and a couple of days later, I drove by her house, and she wants to buy an investment property.
wow.
And you look at the picture of the house too, down on the bottom, so,
Yeah.
on the Google Maps. The other thing this does is it shows you how many times a number has been dialed. So this is showing, where am I right now? So if I do like this category.
Go to your test and see how many times you dialed down.
Where did that go? That's weird, why did it do that? All my things are off. That's very odd. Oh, it's on processing, it's gone funky, hold on. I've never seen it do that.
So with this one, like you almost don't need any other database.
You don't have to, no, if you don't want to. If you don't want to.
It's, well, maybe you should talk cost.
Yeah, okay, so let me just, I'm gonna close this down. Oh, I won't close it down, but I'll just, this is the other one that I had on. So the website is mojosells.com. I'll write it up here if you want. The other thing I do have to remember to do is to, never mind. Okay, so this is their main website. There's a tab for pricing. And so basically it's $89 a month for the single line dialer and $139 for the triple dialer. Every person pays a $10 user fee, so there's like me, Joanne, so you add that if you've got more than one person on it. And then the extra things that you can add on is the neighborhood search, which is the one that both Katya and I have used, which has been great. I've never used any of this stuff because it's a US company and I've just never done any of that stuff. So I spend about 134 a month, but they show you how, you can add up different things. So your cost is going to be different based on what you choose.
$134 US.
Yeah, depending on how you choose to use it. And so, you've got your activity page, and you also saw that it's got action plans, it's got, it'll take letters, it'll take email templates. You can attach it to Google. Tina tried it and we couldn't get it to work right, so I'm gonna get my son to look at it. Then if you go into this part here, it talks a bit about what the lead manager does. Then
What is the lead manager?
it's just basically how you assign the leads to people and who manages what. Who's the admin manager?
Oh, so if you have like a team on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. If you're the lead manager, if there's only one person on it. This talks about the marketing stuff, the data. Oh, completely forgot. It's got a mobile version. So I didn't bring my phone, but the mobile version is brilliant. Yeah. So you
So you
can
can
call
do the
from
same
your
thing?
phone. Yeah, let me run and get my phone. You can see it. You may not be able to see it, but it's. Okay, so yeah.
In the Mojo dialog.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I have an app and it'll go in, you sign in, and then it has all the same thing, your home, your data dialer, your activities. So if I have a list of activities, I can just go from here. So I got a home anniversary call. I'll go into the person and I'll just hit the phone number. I won't necessarily put it on dialer when I'm using the mobile version.
Oh, so you can just use it as a straight line now?
So you just use it as a straight line, yeah. And then, if I've got a new
That's
person.
really where it becomes your database.
Yeah, if you want to add a new person, it's easy to add a new person in. If you're looking for somebody, you can find them. The mobile version is great. Now, they have a place, there. So demo tutorial videos. And if you go onto YouTube and you go into Mojo, you'll find like gazillions of them. They're very good with their videos.
So you don't have the one line plus the neighborhood search, that's.
No, I have the one line plus Joanne and Jamie, so I have two other people. And then I've had the neighborhood search, but I've only paid I had it twice. I did one download, then I worked with that and turned it off, and then I did it another month. So I paid another.
You can just pay for 1 month?
Yeah. I just want it this month, and then download as much as you want for that month, and then.
How much, I'm just wondering, KW talks about this, Mojo, how much are the people out there just getting bombarded and stopping and not answering, or, are you feeling you're getting a fair bit of leads?
Yeah, I think right now I'm below what they said that you should be getting.
You're below.
Yeah, I'm below what they said they should be, but we're coming off the summer, and I didn't expect, you wouldn't get the average in the summer because no one's around in the summer.
And especially this summer.
And especially this summer. And I'm not 100% comfortable with the attention I've given to Joanne in terms of training her.
Regarding Joanna, if you wouldn't have Mojo and you wouldn't have Joanna, is it possible? Or you kind of have to have Mojo so she can dial from there?
I wanted to get someone to do the dialing, so the company that I chose said this is the software that they use. So that's why I got it. As it turns out, even whether Joanne stays with me or not, I love the software, so I'm happy to stay with that.
But the company where John works, you as well.
Yeah.
Where did you find that company? Was it called?
Yeah, no, it was when Candace Frigo-Schott came and did her thing on it. She mentioned it, and I've been thinking about it a lot, so I just spoke to her about it. She was great, and she sort of gave me her experiences, and I knew a couple of other agents that used it. It's called Off2VA. OFF2VA.
So does Candace use it?
Yeah.
She does use it, right?
Her and her husband manages the VA more than she does.
Right. He does all the leads.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so he manages that. he's used it.
That's how he
Yeah.
is successful.
Yeah, he's used it for ages too.
We have major teams all throughout North America using it.
He uses a dialer.
And they use the dialer, and Mark Lawler is calling his neighborhood.
Yeah,
And he's from, you've got Kirby Chan.
yeah, they're all.
So just, that's why I'm questioning
Yeah.
the amount of calls that people are getting. Like, I disconnected my home line because I was fed up with all the calls.
Yeah, me too. I think we're gonna start to get smaller and smaller lists over time, just because people aren't getting home phones and we don't have the cell numbers.
That's
So
what-
that's why you tend to get the old people.
Yeah, and that's what I just got rid of mine and cold calling, see, that's what I'm finding,
Yeah.
is I'm getting mostly older people. Occasionally you get people who work from home.
Yeah.
This is where dialer is actually so relatively powerful, because if you try to do that, if you try to get the old people in the neighborhood to do it after the regular way, you're gonna die yourself silly going like this.
Yeah.
If you have this cycling
Yeah.
through, you can still really maximize your
Yeah.
time.
But-
And I find that most of the time I have pretty good conversations.
Yeah, I do too. And I found that I was able to keep a lot more information than I thought I'd be able to and do a lot more with it, which is why I sort of put it more in the CRM category than just the
Well, it's
dialers.
interesting the fact that you're using it as a CRM, because I'm thinking, man, that's great, because I can tell you, I sit at the phone and, oh, they don't want to talk to me.
I know.
don't.
Well, that's
I
it,
talk
and
myself
that's
out.
it. I mean, it certainly deals with any ADD you may have, because that next person's coming up, and you're like, okay, who is it? What am I looking for? What do I have to remember about them? And it just keeps you like, go, 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 go. And before you know it, it's been an hour, and you've gotten through a bunch of names. Like, it's self is worth the price of admission, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it does, it gets so much easier the more you do it, then it's fine, and you're like, oh, I love
And
these
that's
people.
the other thing, is it's something you have to do consistently. Like
Yeah.
you were saying Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or
Yeah.
whatever you're saying.
The
You
other
have
thing
to
is
do
you're not
it.
married to these people, right? When you call your database, you go like, that's that,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't matter, like, it's a number, right? You have no association, at least when you do neighborhood search in the profile, you have no association. If this one doesn't work out, the next one will, it's like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Because I was originally just going to use it as the map search people and then just put any new leads. And then I thought, well, what do I do with the open house people I want to follow up? And so now I just type them in really fast, and then they all just go into my new leads, so wherever the sources are. And then I thought, well, this is so easy to call. Now going back to the phone to call my past clients seems like an archaic way to do it. So I just ended up putting everybody in it.
Yeah, that's the part. I'm like, ooh, I like
Yeah.
And did you keep your other one?
I do. I still, as I said, I use my Buffini CRM, which I'll talk about on Wednesday when we do that session, to do the financial management of the business. So
What time are you doing the meeting?
I think it's 1:30 on
Okay.
Wednesday. 1:30 on
You're doing
Wednesday.
Katie and then you're doing another one.
Irene and Bridget are doing Top Producer, so I don't use it anymore. So
And are they doing that?
no, they're doing that. I think Monday, the following Monday.
You see Wednesday at what?
30. I think it's 1:30. It's on the calendar. Whatever it says on the calendar.
Yes, I'll be, yeah.
I mean, you can use Buffini as a CRM. It's got a lot of great stuff on the marketing side. I use it for the marketing and I use it for the financial
Is
management
the
side.
marketing Canadianized?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, very much. Yes, they're actually better at Canadianizing than KW is, I think.
Well, KW was just a minefield, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Marketing, when you said marketing, what kind of marketing do you do?
So I'm just about to change the way I do my newsletters because I wanted to go more towards a video newsletter out of BombBomb. But because I have the email and the no email people, I can take, when Buffini does their newsletter, they have a mid-month sort of digital version and a printed mail version. And so the printed mail version is the one that's going to go to the no email people. The digital version I'm pulling into BombBomb and using that as the theme and then doing my own video part on top, like a minute and a half.
Is that what you used today, this morning, Tom?
Yes, yeah, sorry, they're all pre-programmed. I did them like in August, so I can't remember what day they're going out, so I didn't, yeah. But that's the BombBomb one, yeah, that's my template.
you can do a big project, right?
Yes, so there is a way to attach Mojo to BombBomb. You'd have to speak to Tina about that because that's not my area of expertise, but she's figured it out.
But all that stuff that you're doing, like, so BombBomb, is that like a yearly fee or a monthly
Yeah.
fee or?
It's,
whatever?
well, you can pay it either, yeah. It does add up,
That's just-
it does add up,
But
yeah,
if you're getting business.
yeah.
So Buffini, have they always done the newsletter?
Mhm.
But it wasn't always Canadianized years ago.
It wasn't, yeah, yeah, but now it is. I'll show you all that on
Okay.
Wednesday.
Right.
Okay?